This project is really invasive into your car's brake system. There were a lot of parts where I couldn't get a camera into it. So what I'm going to do is I got myself a whiteboard and I'm going to draw it out for you there so you can see the actual plans. And I'll supplement this with actual footage of my line lock, you know, just to make sure that you guys see every angle possible. Now, if you look at any diagram of the piping, it's all going to show you one way to do it. They're going to show you to put it after the pressure differential switch block and before the distribution block, which splits the line so one goes to the front right brake and the other one goes to the front left brake. Now, on many cars, typically older cars, with a dual master cylinder, the lines are already split between front and rear and then go straight to the distribution block where it splits off. This is the problem that I ran into, and I learned this is a problem that a lot of people ran into. Also, if you didn't understand a word I just said, go back and do some research before doing this project, because the knowledge that the extra time is going to take for you to learn is going to save your life, okay? I know I'm beating you over the head with this safety talk, but you know, you do have to be careful with this. Alright, so where to place that solenoid? Well, first, you're going to figure out which line from the master cylinder is your front brakes. Typically, this will be the one in the front. You're going to need to follow the line all the way down the distribution block and unscrew it. If you're lucky, your distribution block is going to be directly under your master cylinder. If you're not, it's going to be all the way at the bottom near the headers, much like mine was, so I hope it's near your cylinder because that was a pain in the butt to put in. This will require you to jack your car up and get under it to access it, and even then, it's still a super tiny area to get to. I didn't end up needing to, but if you have the extra time, take off the exhaust header in your way. You're then going to take this entire line out. Now, there may be some brake fluid leaking. Immediately wipe it off because brake fluid is very, very corrosive. It may not turn your sheet metal into rust, but it'll definitely ruin your paint job, so be very careful. If you do spill some on your paint job, make sure to wipe it off and rinse it with water. You know, you can probably save it as long as it's within like 5 minutes of dropping, so be very careful with that. Now it is time to grab the replacement lines that came with your install kit. Start off by bending the metal line to the angle you need to have it poke outwards towards you. Then fit it into the distribution block. Tighten it by hand and then tighten it with a wrench until it's snug. Once it's snug and you can't loosen it with your fingers, give it another 1/6 of a turn to be safe. Do not over tighten, as this will make you need to possibly replace the whole distribution block because you're an idiot and snapped off your nut. That sounded kind of weird, but anyways, why I'm saying that is because I learned from experience. I'm making all these mistakes so you don't have to. Now you're going to get out from under the car and then go back up to your hood. Install the other shorter brake line into the brass fitting that comes with the install kit. If it didn't come with the kit, visit a local performance shop for advice and the fitting you need. You're then going to tighten it the same way you did the other nut. Now you have two ends of pipe leading directly into each other. Don't put them into the line lock just yet, as they won't seal properly. As I mentioned before, the line lock is pipe threads, not brake threads. You're gonna install your adapter on both the in and out section of your line lock. It's okay to use a little bit of Teflon tape on threads going into the line lock, but put it after the first two threads so none gets in your brake system. Now, use your bending tool to make pipes fit directly into the line lock solenoid. Once you're sure everything reaches, mount the line lock to the firewall or the wheel well. This is likely going to be in here permanently, so feel free to use thread locker on the bolts. Be sure to press the brake pedal and have someone watch the solenoid, master cylinder, and distribution block for any leaks. If there are some leaks, take the line out and reseat it again, making sure to tighten properly. Now, once there are no leaks in the system, your piping job is complete. Now, for the wiring. Now, usually, companies will make the ground wire black and positive wire red. Unfortunately, Jegs didn't do that. An easy way to figure out which is just to check that solenoid's wiring diagram. For this line lock, I learned that the wire on the left is negative and the wire on the right is positive. For the negative, I unscrewed a bolt in the engine bay and tightened it around the threads and then retightened. Sure, you could use a ring, but I hate crimping, so I just did it the old-fashioned way. Now, the positive wire was a little bit confusing, but I'm going to show you how I did it. First, I attached some extra wire to the battery. After the battery, it went through the fuse that came with the kit. After the fuse, I connected it to the switch. After the switch, I connected it to the line lock solenoid. You can connect it to the fuse box if you want, but I was lazy and just contacted it directly to the battery, which definitely does work. Just don't leave it on because you're probably going to drain your battery. Make sure you keep the wire tight and away from hot and moving parts, just the exhaust, the steering column, and more. Trust me, I had to do the wiring again because my idiot self had tied it around the steering column for some reason. I don't know, I wasn't thinking. It was... Here. Take my car guy card. After this is done, bleed the brakes and your job will be complete. Test. Okay, so from here the line lock is installed I love the brakes, I checked everything. Ignore my sweat, it is super hot, but I have to have the window closed so you guys can hear me. Because if it's open, you're just gonna get Russian wind. So what we're gonna do right now is we are going to test this. We're gonna see how this works. So, wish me luck, guys. Using a line lock is very simple. Simply press down on the brakes, flick the switch, and release the brake. Then you're gonna immediately press the gas till you lose traction. Remember to shift to L1 or L2 to ensure that you don't shift during burnout. Okay, so that went a lot better than I expected. I don't think I've ever, at least when I do a burnout, I don't think I've ever created a smoke show that well. And most of all, I've never created one that easy. So yeah, if you're thinking of getting a line lock, I'd say go for it. It's cheap. Yeah. It's cheap, it's effective, and overall, it's just easier in your car. So would I recommend this? 100%. Get it yourselves, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you guys giving me the time of day. I post new videos just like this every single week. If you want to stick around for the next one, make sure you hit that subscribe button. I also, as I said before, I have a Patreon down below. There's a lot of goodies you can get from there, plus you can just help a brother out. Honestly, $1 a month just makes a huge difference to me, and I really appreciate anything that you guys can give. If you want to see other videos when I'm working on my car, I'm going to have this video in 2 playlists that'll be linked below. It's going to be the Hot Rodders playlist, as well as the tutorial playlist. So feel free to check those out. I would greatly appreciate it. I hope you guys have a great day. Peace.